Hi, okay. I was just sat thinking, what shall I make today's video about? And yesterday, I went through a little bit of a process. I watched a movie called Inside Out. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a Pixar movie. Something I've watched before and got a lot from it, and it substantiated and validated a lot of my existing stuff that I've been learning in hypnotherapy school and stuff, which is when I watched it. In fact, it was the hypnotherapy school that I was at that recommended it. So I recommend that movie. And I watched it last night, and there might be a little bit of a spoiler alert here for those of you that have not watched it. So if you want to watch it and then come back to this video, then maybe do that. But it's the crux of the movie. It's all about parts, the parts of the person. All these different emotions that we have. And it's fear, anger, joy, disgust. Fear, anger, joy, disgust, and sadness. They're the 5. And I watched it yesterday, and it just really reminded me, that just like the little girl in the movie, joy is always kind of in my driving seat, like 99% of the time. It's always about, how can I have fun with this? How can I get excited about this? Let's really enjoy this, or let's, kind of very positive mentality. And which is something that, I cultivated over time until it became automatic. And this is kind of what the movie's about as well. Anyway, I was just wondering what to speak about, and just as I did, a song came on the playlist that I had on, and which was an REM song, Everybody Hurts Sometimes, and it's basically that's what the movie's about as well. And this is something that's really, really important. Like when you're doing this personal development type stuff or spiritual journey, it can be really easy to fall into the trap of thinking you always need to be happy, and to give so much importance to joy. Happiness perhaps isn't the right word, but joy. Yeah, like being in a good mood, if you like. And to neglect the fact that sadness plays a really, really valuable role in life. To feel sad is to let someone know that you are suffering in some way, and that draws in the support that you might need in that moment. Maybe you really do need a shoulder to cry on, but unless you're crying, there's going to be no shoulder there for you to do it on. So it's like it's important to express that sometimes, and to feel that, and to allow it to be felt and seen and to be appreciated. Such a profound movie. Some of the parts in that movie are really, really... When you've studied this stuff and you know it quite well, you're like, wow, what a clever little part of this movie just there that I just spotted. I like, it's worth watching. Especially if you've got kids, watch it with your kids. So after I watched it, it just brought up, I've got some sadness to honour. There's a lot of work being done at the moment. I'm doing a lot of deep work in this lockdown period during the COVID-19 pandemic. So there's stuff coming up for processing. I laid in bed a couple of weeks ago, and from the heart, I really meant it from the heart. I was like, let's do this. Any parts of me that have been rejected, any unfulfilled or unseen or unheard parts of me, feel free to come forth, come up, show yourself. And then since then, things have been happening. I've had emotions coming up that have not been felt for a long time. I broke out in a rash on my stomach, and a little bit, don't know if you can tell, but dry skin here on my face as well, which has drawn my attention to a whole huge list of stuff for me to look at, and that I'm like, all the dots are joining together. And this came into it last night as well, as I acknowledged sadness, and I just sat with it, and I kind of took myself off to bed and just laid down with it and just appreciated it for what it was, like feeling sad but without the rejection of that. And that's what I want to highlight in this video, is that the emotion is not the problem. It's It's how we feel about the emotion. It's our rejection of the emotion. Like if you genuinely really loved feeling sad, then that wouldn't be a problem feeling sad, would it? If you loved being scared, you know, like people who watch horror movies and love white knuckle rides, roller coasters and bungee, you know, extreme sports, bungee jump, skydive, and they thrive off fear. And fear's not a bad thing to them. It's a good thing because they're not in resistance to it. They're actively moving into it. Whereas someone else who has a fear aversion, you know, that's the worst thing they can think of. That really just highlights perfectly that the emotions are not the problem. The circumstances of your life are not the problem. It's how you feel about it. Resistance and rejection is what causes suffering. So it's time that we can all build a relationship. If you're watching this video, there's a reason you're watching it, right? You know, there's like, you're here with me, you're watching this video, we're communicating for a reason. Everything in your life, I'm not going to explain that in this video how I sort of came to this conclusion, but I will in another one. But I've had experiences that show us that every single thing that happens in our life is showing us something for us to learn from or to use to remember who and what we really are, you know, at our deepest level. So the reason that you're watching this is because there's something in it that you need to hear, and if it's not already been said, just let it be this, I guess. What if we just build a relationship with every single aspect of ourselves to love it all? And I know I've mentioned this in other ways, but I will keep touching and hammering on the same points in different ways, using slightly different language, different metaphors, different experiences, because it's what I know to be true. And if you're watching this, I guess life wants you to know it to be true for you, or at least for you to try it on and see how it fits. If you haven't watched the movie, get it watched, it's well good. And if you have and you didn't get it, maybe now you get it. And it's actually pointing at this, to not reject sadness or anger. I know we live in a society where, you know, to be angry, it can be a problem. You know, you're seen as you've got a problem, anger management. Or if somebody's sad a lot, that it's a problem. And the only real problem is the fact that they keep getting told that it's not okay to feel that way, which exacerbates that. And then they're in resistance to it, and that which you resist persists, so they get more of the same, and they're resisting it more as well. Whereas if we could just be okay with it, it would pass. It like a cloud across the sky. The sadness would come, it'd be felt, it'd be acknowledged, you'd learn from it, and it'd leave. And then the next emotion would come up, it'd be seen, you acknowledge it, you learn from it, and then it leaves. And that would continue to happen until we find that space of equanimity and that calmness in the storm. What emotion do you keep feeling a lot? That's the question. What comes up a lot? Is it anger and rage? Is it jealousy? Is it sadness? Is it joy? Is it... You just really do some inner work. Look it up. To remind yourself, look up what the different emotions are. And there's something called, I think it's called Puchnik's wheel or something. But if you look up wheel of emotions, you'll be able to find some stuff. And you look in and see, oh yeah, I feel that one a lot. I feel that one a lot. There's something to learn from it if you're feeling it a lot. Just know, are you resisting it in some way? Is that why it keeps recurring all the time? Is there some sort of resistance? Are you trying to push it away so it's fighting for your attention? Just like a kid that wants your attention, and if you keep rejecting and ignoring that kid, it's going to shout louder for your attention. So what's your recurring emotion? How can you build a relationship with it? Can you build a relationship with it? Would you build a relationship with it? Will you build a relationship with it? And if you will, at some point, why not now? It's just a little bit of something to look at, to think about, to feel into, to explore, to digest and to integrate into your life. It is okay to be sad and to suffer. It's a part of life, but our rejection of that will make it a problem. Hope this finds you well. Loads of love, and please like, subscribe, share, just to get these ideas out to as many people as possible, so we can start to look inwards and see what's going on under the bonnet, and start to dissolve some patterns, and start to find new levels of freedom and connection and peace within, and more love. Obviously, it's all about that. All right, much love. Take care.